Well. Must be week 4 already. How's everyone doing today? Saturday, September 28th is 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I am Bob Harris. It's time for the Week Anything live stream. Before we get to that and your questions, footballguys.com. That's your website. I appreciate you guys joining me here every Saturday at this time. Also on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for the On the Hot Seat live streams. Had Fantasy and Frame Stacy Perez on this week. She was great. So go back and check that out and see what we had. I have a great guest every week, and I'll have another one this week. Anyhow, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell. Do all the YouTube stuff, and like me or not. I'm a grown-up adult. I can handle it. Good to see everyone in there. Paulie, how you doing? I see your questions, Dan. I'll get to those. Hi, Andrea. Hey, Remy, how you doing? Royal Slade in the house. Football guys for the win. I'm all about that. Hope everyone is ready for a big week 4. I want to run through some injuries real quick before we get to the news. Injuries will include that. We'll talk about that for a second here and get to that. Hello, happy Saturday. Audible fan. Lester in the house. Scampers here as well. Good to see everybody. That is a tool shirt. What tour is that? I don't know. 20? I think maybe 2020. So when you ask questions, Andrea, ask a question so everyone can look at your question and see how to ask the questions. I need a first name, last name, or a first initial, last name, and who they're playing. Helps me process quicker. Yes, I know everybody's name, but sometimes, man, you're sitting here like, I was looking at the first question and I saw like Wilson. I'm going, who the, oh, Emmanuel. So not everyone's at the front of my mind, people. So anyway, we'll get to the questions. Everyone relax a little bit. Let's just run through the injuries real quick here because there are a few. Jordan Love likely to play, or at least he's worked on a limited basis all week. I think they're planning for him to. As long as they feel like he can protect himself from the pass rush, I don't know why they wouldn't play him. So we'll see how it goes. Beyond that, I mean, Justin Herbert seems pretty dicey to me. You've got both starting tackles hurt, one out, Joe Alt questionable. This seems like, I hate to think of a Taylor Heineke or Easton Stick game. Skylar Thompson's working on a limited basis. If it's possible, he might get on the field. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Not necessarily. Don't know that Tyler Huntley would be any better. No, Tim Boyle wouldn't. Russell Wilson, questionable. He's not playing. Justin Fields says it's a great matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. Alvin Kamara is questionable. I think he's going to play limited Thursday and Friday. Should be on track to go, but the questionable designation means you'll have to watch that. It's early kickoff. Joe Mixon made it on the field just for Friday. I don't think he'll play, but it's possible. Cam Akers, Damian Pierce is out, so Cam Akers gets a good shot of lead back. Foye Oluokun is out for Jacksonville. Devin Lloyd is beat up, so that could be an issue for them. So that's something to watch. Buccaneers, Bucky Irving is listed as questionable. The carry share had risen up over half the carries. He leads the team in rushing, averaging over 6 yards a carry, while Rashad White is not. So that's something to watch. I think he's a viable flex play if he plays. Some of you Monday Nighters, Raheem Mostert could be ready to go. He's been practicing on a limited basis this week. So is Kenneth Walker III. So watch that. Jalen Warren's out for the Steelers. Big game for Najee Harris against that generous Indianapolis defense. Maybe even Cordero Patterson gets a little run. Austin Eckler's out, too, against the Arizona Cardinals. So big day for Brian Robinson Jr. Bijan's fine. Jerome Ford off the injury report as well. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams, he's out. Is this a business decision? Everyone will be speculating and discussing. Same game, Michael Mayer is out as well. So, some pathways for other people to succeed in that one. Cooper Kupp out, of course. Tank Dell out. Nico Collins off the injury report. Same game. Gabe Davis listed as questionable, and Evan Ingram's out in that game as well. Devontae Smith is out for the Eagles. A.J. Brown's questionable. Do they force him into the fray? I know I saw a question out there about that. I mean, he needs to play if he gets in a little practice. He got in a little practice, very little, just limited on Friday. They got a week 5 bye. Do they push him into the mix? I don't know. This is totally – his history suggests yes. The circumstances suggest no. Jalen McMillan, that same game, doubtful. It's not going to play. Deebo Samuel, questionable. Sounds like he could come back. Sorry to you, Jawan Jennings investors. Or maybe not. I mean, it's a late afternoon kickoff, so you'll need to Chris Olave turned up as questionable. Pulled a hamstring or the hamstring. I say pull. That's way serious. Adam Schefter says he's day to day more so than something serious. So that's one to watch. Deontay Johnson has a groin issue. He's questionable. They said Thursday he didn't practice because of weather concerns. Then Friday he did a limited work, and Dave Canal said he's fine. A great matchup. The Andy Dalton revenge game. Is it the Red Rifle or the Redheaded Stepchild who shows up? We'll see. Keenan Allen questionable. He will looks like he will be back, but I love Roman Tunze in this game. He's off the injury report. Jordan Addison back in the mix for the Vikings. Uh, Tight ends. Trey McBride's out. David Njoku's out. I mentioned Ingram. I mentioned Meyer. George Kittle's good to go. Taysom Hill's good to go. Sam Laporta got in a full practice. So that's good. He's got a low ankle sprain, as you all probably know. So seems like he's got a path to play. As always, when you're dealing with these Monday night games, what did Christian McCaffrey teach us? Nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. Whatever they're telling us probably should be very skeptical. And there you have it. No such thing as too baked. I'm going to say any injuries. Yes. Bye week start next week. It's tricky, kids. Going to get tricky, and we'll get to the questions here momentarily. Just running through everything, seeing what I missed, seeing who's yelling at me, seeing if you can hear me. Yes. Hey, Jacob. Good to see you. This correct. Always appreciate the inputs. Dame overboard in the house. So we'll see. Yeah, right. Like, what does a good practice mean? One good practice on a Friday. Do you know what Friday's practice is? It's a walkthrough. It's not even a real practice. So I'm skeptical, but like if he's playing, could you not? I mean, you'd almost have to fire him up, right? So this is going to be a tough one for me. I almost wish that he would be a scratch so I could have a clear pathway for my Cam Akers shares and then not get maybe what might ultimately be a limited mix-in, or maybe he goes full go. I mean, these truly mysterious situations are such a hassle. Oh yeah, had the Headbangers Ball shirt on yesterday. Was repping the old school. All right, I think I'm caught up with. Listen now. All right, I think I've got all the nonsense out of the way. By nonsense, I mean my favorite part of the show is the nonsense. So we've got that going for us. We'll dive into some questions. If you have anything specific, again, give me a first initial at least to go with the last name and who they're playing and where it's at, if you can, like a versus or at is perfectly fine. Again, I'll figure it out. It just takes less time and I get more questions done. I hope to get to everyone's questions. I never do. So apologies in advance. I appreciate all your great patience. Also picturing my cat's patience. He's very angry. He would like to go outside, but I'm not letting him out. Yard guy day. Yard guys got here early, everybody. We don't get the benefits. Let's see what we got going on here. Started out with Tim Rush, Carson Steele, or Darnell Mooney in the flex. So how worried are we about Kareem Hunt? Probably not very this week. Like this might depend on what I need, Tim. If I just want to avoid a zero and have a solid play, I think Carson Steele, we saw how this workload is going to play out. They seem to trust him enough to let him be the primary back here. And the possibilities of him falling in the end zone are really good and an explosive offense. Also, Darnell Mooney's been fantastic. It's a tough matchup against the Saints, or relatively tough matchup against the Saints. So I'm probably leaning Steele as the safe play. But if you're kind of swinging for the fence, Mooney might be it. Bowers against the Bowers versus Browns, Goddard versus Bucks. I rank them 1 and 2. Take your pick. Bowers moved ahead of Goddard. So here's the thing about Tampa Bay is like not good at anything except slowing down tight ends. They rank 4th against the tight ends this season. Would that keep me from playing Goddard? Maybe this decision waits until we find out what's going on with AJ Brown. Like if there are no other receivers, like if Jahan Dotson and I don't even know. They'll have to promote Perry in the practice while today if they want to play him. Yeah, I mean, with Devontae Adams out, you could make the argument that Bowers is it either way. So I do have Bowers number 1 right now. If you want to reconsider that when they're 1-2, maybe you just wait till the Brown decision to make your final call. But I'd probably just plug Bowers in. Madison versus Browns, Wilson versus Vikings, or Javonte versus Jets. Yeah, that's it's like that then. Yeah, I can see. Like I think Wilson, playing Wilson is kind of almost too cute. Madison also, like, I'm probably playing Javante. I know it's not ideal, but like just playing the depth chart a lot of time makes sense to me when you're playing these kind of, when you're having to dig in this deep. To me, it's tough. Um, no dogs here, only cats allowed. No, the dog. I used to have a dog. We used to have a dog here. Don't panic. The dog. We were keeping the dog for my fiance's kids. Come on now. They got home. We got the dog. They got the dog back. They were out of the country, working out of the country. All right. I feel like my anti-dog rhetoric has gone too far. I said too much. Thanks for the help last week, says Chuck Wilson. It worked. Running back and flex questions. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Like, okay, by the way, if you're going, who is he? I'm Bob Harris. Footballguys.com. You can find my article today, In and Out, where I do crazy things and make myself feel super uncomfortable while I'm watching the games. Kind of some edgy picks. One I'm in on, one I'm out on at each position. My more conventional work you'll find in the Fantasy Notebook every Thursday on the site. Is totally free. If you're not a subscriber, you can still read it. You can go to my X feed and see it there. Really like doing that. Just kind of look at situations around the league and kind of get things on your radar. Also, my Polarizing Players collaboration with Gary Davenport, available every Friday. We have some fun with that as well. You can hear me every morning, 5:30 a.m. The Football Guys Daily Update drops. It's a podcast. It's 10 minutes long. Just gives you a little daily dose of information to get you set your day on a proper course. Most days with Mike Dempsey, my radio colleague. The radio show is Football Diehards on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. You can hear me Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 p.m. to midnight. Saturday night, tonight we'll be on, we simulcast on NFL Radio and the Fantasy Channel from 8 to 11. We'll have Pat Fitzmaurice. What the hell is that? Pat Fitzmaurice from Fantasy Pros will be on. Jamie Calandro on to talk DFS. We'll be covering the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers game will be our game of the week. So check that out. Then Sunday, I'll be on for the pregame show with Jeff Manns, as always, from 11 to 1. So there you have it. That's who I am. I know most of you anyway. So most of you probably know me, but some of you might not. I'm not Cecil. I'm not Sigmund, but I love those guys. They're fantastic. And they're here, of course, as well, almost daily on the Audible channel. So check that out. Check out the Fantasy Football channel with Dave Kluge, Alfredo Brown, broadcasting on the regular. Great stuff by them. And the Dynasty channel, Jeff Bell, doing the good work there on the Dynasty front. And also the Sunday morning, we have the great pregame show there as well with a great crew. So Braylon Allen or Bucky Irving? Flex loser RB above with Xavier Worthy. But so like I think Allen is a standalone play, but it's going to be 5 to 10 touches. I think if Bucky Irving's playing, I think it's going to be a bigger role. I would play that. He seems to have the momentum. He's been, again, the rushing shares have gone from 30 to 40 to 50 the last 3 weeks. I mentioned 6 yards a carry. And it's funny because Todd Bowles said, hey, we need more of that. And then later in the week, he said, no, I didn't really mean we need more of that. But Bucky Irving has been inevitable if Rachaad White didn't start hitting hole. This was why Bucky Irving was drafted, because Rachaad White, bless him, is fantastic in the open field, fantastic as a receiver, not great at hitting the hole hard. And he's someone described it to me the other day, and I thought it was a great description. He's Le'Veon Bell. He gets that little thing in there, but he doesn't have the same explosiveness and this capability. So I'm playing Bucky Irving. Like, I think with either Allen or Worthy, you're kind of playing for the touchdown, as Matt Waldman talked about on our Monday podcast this past week. I would say the name, but the Sorry Joes would not be sufficient. You can find that at Matt Waldman's YouTube channel. The RSP. Worthy is kind of one-dimensional. I think the outside of that game against Baltimore, where we saw the trick play and then a broken coverage, got away. Like he's a threat to score any given week. So is Braylon Allen. I think I'd probably lean Worthy a little bit. Ian Coleman or Zach Ertz. Like yeah. Like I think I'm betting on the volume of Zach Ertz over Keon Coleman, and I like Keon Coleman. I love the touchdown last week, but it came on a very narrow band of activity, right? So I think it was his only target of the day. Can my Bengals? I don't know if they can. Coffee. Good. Albert, how are you, man? Good to see you. All right, Remy, what do we got here? Non PPR running back help. Pick one from Pollard versus Miami, Jerome Ford versus Las Vegas, Najee Harris versus Indiana, and it's Najee Harris versus Indiana. The horrible run defense. I mean, I like all three of those guys are viable. This is an easy call for me. Andrea. Michael Wilson versus Washington, Jennings versus New England, London versus New Orleans, Dobbs versus Minnesota, and half point PPR. I'm probably playing London there. If they're, I mean, you got to pick that early, right? I mean, is it worth it waiting for Jennings to find out if Debo plays or not? Because I think, I don't think we've said for sure. I don't think anyone said, but I'm expecting Christian Gonzalez to still go with Royal Slade. Who is Christian Gonzalez going to cover? Is he going to either way? I mean, like if there was no Debo, I'd probably want to go. Oh, here we go. Who's my phone? I look at you. You're getting the Adam Schefter before me. Tyler Huntley will start. I don't know if that's great news or not. Might mean a little more running, might mean a little more tucking it in and doing business, right? I did go out and look at his game logs this week just to see, and he does have some games with some passing yardage. Look, Skylar Thompson is not processing information fast enough, right? And maybe Huntley does a better job of that, at least figuring out who's covered, who's not, and deciding to run, right? Like, so I like that. But he does have, like, I think, some 250-yard passing days during his time in Baltimore. So I think this is probably like he doesn't know the offense well. I'm guessing Mike McDaniel will figure it out. So interesting. Going back to where I was. Sorry. I like to check the bottom every now and again for stuff like that. I wouldn't have looked at my texts and seen. And Scampers is quick, man. Quick. So the Wilson. So if I knew for sure that there wasn't going to be a Debo Samuel, I might go ahead and play Jennings. I might prefer Jennings, right? I mean, big week last week. Might be another big week. And I mentioned Christian Gonzalez. If he's going to, if we're going to see him mostly on Ayuk, that would make life easier. And then you could pivot to Wilson if something happened. But is London not just probably the right call? London's probably the right call to save yourself having to wait it out unless we hear something really definitive in advance. And I don't think we will. Worthy, Waddle, Kirk in half point PPR. Probably Kirk in this week. We'll see with Waddle, right? Like I'm hopeful. Like I'm still playing the heck out of Tyreek Hill and probably should play Waddle the same. I think that Kirk is a viable option there in hopes of, getting some decent numbers at least, which we saw last week in Buffalo. If they're behind, which they might well be because they're the Jaguars. So yeah, I'm probably going with Kirk in that one. Charles, Allen, and Hall if hands are tied. Yes, perfectly fine. It's not ideal, perfectly fine if your hands are tied. I mean, I think that's the perfect way to frame this. Sometimes we don't have the best choices, right? Sometimes we got to make tough calls. We've seen both of those guys be productive. Like, and I know Brees Hall investors are angry out there that there is a Braylon Allen. Don't be. It's okay. He's still getting his 20 touches a game. He's still producing at, the level you drafted him to. Did you really need those extra carries? Are going to make a difference every week? I don't know. I would even get that. If it wasn't Braylon Allen, would it be somewhere else? Someone else. We kind of touched on this, but I just want to revisit it. Mixon had a good practice. Again, it's a walkthrough, and I heard the same thing. So I'm not like dismissing of what you're saying. I just I'm skeptical. Why did he get out there a little bit on Thursday, or has it improved that much? It's a great matchup. This is going to be a challenge for all of us, right? Because this would be a game like last week. I was a little bit worried about Akers given the matchup. Minnesota is very tough against the run, very tough with the pass rush, very tough in general. So I was a little concerned about the matchup. And then the game script got out of hand and we saw very little Akers. This game seems like it's in a much better position at home against the Jaguars. No Aluakon, Lloyd beat up. It seems like a trap. So I'm going to watch that Am I starting Ken Walker, Roshan Johnson, or Braylon Allen, or Christian Watson at flex full point PPR? Mm, we do not have enough information to say this. I'm guessing Kenneth Walker III is going to be questionable today. Roshan, we were trying to play based on whether it was Graziano or Fowler, their weekly piece where they think we're going to see more because DeAndre Swift isn't getting the job done, and he's not. But is it DeAndre Swift not getting the job done, or is it that horrible line, or is it Shane Waldron not scheming up well? I love this game for the receiving core here. I love Roma Dunze this week. He's my in on my outs at wide receiver. Uh, Turns out the Rams don't cover people deep, and deep has kind of been his thing. So I like him an awful lot. Um, like I don't want to totally punt on this one because I think like the Seahawks, and this is the past Seahawks, right? Their tendency was to limit, full practice, fine, right? And so maybe we get that. If we get that, if he's off the injury report, this is easy call, Ken Walker, even in a tough matchup over these plays. I'd probably take it if Jordan Love's playing, I'd take a chance on Christian Watson. Last time we saw Jordan Love on the field, we saw Christian Watson targeted 3 times in the end zone by Jordan Love. So I'd probably do that. And then otherwise, I'd probably default to Braylon Allen. There, multiple choice. I think I've covered myself enough cover. Andrea needs one. Tyler Conklin versus Denver. Brenton Strange versus Houston. Noah Fant. I'm a Conklin guy. I'm going to stick with that. Strange was pretty good, though, right? Like, Strange was more than serviceable. And Noah Fant, kind of serviceable. So there you go. I like them in the order you have them, Andrea. Remy, PPR. Javonte Williams versus New Yorker. Zach Charbonnet. My running back stable is lacking. I'm going to play it safe here and tell you to play Javonte Williams. I know it's not appealing. I know Tyler Batty's back in the mix again this week, and it could be an issue. It seems like a 3-way split. Also, I don't know what the heck's going on with Seattle yet. So maybe if we wait today and we get something definitive on Kenneth Walker Jr. one way or the other, if we heard he was out, I would be playing Zach Charbonnet even in a tough matchup. It would be an easy call. So that's your decision point there. See what's going on at the bottom of the chat. See what I'm missing. Here we go. Here we go. I've got some intel from Royal Slave, my man on the Patriot beat. Okay, so that seems reasonable, right? Like so, like so I think if that's the case, like I'd want to play. I'd want to play Jennings if there is no Debo. I'm gonna play Ayuk too, but this is yeah. All right, thank you for that, sir. Appreciate you. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Appreciate your patience, y'all, while I work through these questions and go everything. I'm glad to see everyone showing up. If you're just showing up, I'm Bob Harris. I'm here for an hour every Saturday to do this, and I'm going to try and go faster this week and answer more questions and do less less comment. Not really. I can't do that. All right, one. Shakir McLaurin. It's a half point PPR. Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, Olave, or Taysom Hill. One receiver, one flex. So again, if Kenneth Walker Jr. came off so it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson for one. It's my flex. Kenneth Walker Jr. was all the way off the injury report. I would give him some consideration. It's still a tough matchup. And then I'm probably going with McLaurin. And, we've got Olave's nicked up. Do I know if he's going to play? No. Do I want to play him if he is playing nicked up? Don't know that I do. Like, does he get AJ Terrell maybe? Shakir, I think, is a viable play any given week. So for me, it's Stevenson and McLaurin. Achane versus Tennessee or Brian Robinson Jr. versus Arizona, full PPR. This is one that, I'm not going to tell you you're on your own, Albert, but I might be a little edgier on this than other people. I think Achane right now is averaging 3.5 yards a carry. Do I know the offense is going to be on schedule? I do not. They only converted 1 of 12 first downs last week. They had 100 yards at the half. Maybe Tyler Huntley changes the whole dynamic of this offense. But it's been a little bit of a struggle for Brian Robinson Jr. is in what the kids would call a smash spot, right? So I'd probably lean Robinson. It's very close. It's not like I'm like Achane is my out on my in and out, but my out is he's not a running back 1. He's a high end or mid range running back 2. I think Brian Robinson's a high end running back 2 with a chance to be running back 1 with Austin Eckler out. It's that close though. So this is maybe a little personal preference. The matchup should be a factor in this as well. Tennessee's very tough against the run. How about that? How about them apples? Them apples. Like I'm old, and that's like that feels like even older people say that. How about them apples, kid? Need one. Xavier Leggett versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Demarcus Robinson versus Chicago. Khalil Shakir versus Baltimore. Probably going to go with Robinson in this one. Shakir would be next. We'll see what Leggett is, right? I mean, there is no Adam Thielen in case everybody missed it. He's on injured reserve. Andy Dalton seems like he's a serviceable quarterback, or he was certainly very good last week. Certainly very good last week. It's a revenge game for Andy Dalton at home. So, like, there's a lot to like there. I get it, but I'd like to see how it plays out. Maybe it's Jonathan Mingo. I know. So it's funny if in August it was all Mingo. And then as we got into the season, it's been a little more Leggett. So I'm going to play it safe here and go to Marcus Robinson, who is the de facto wide receiver one for the Los Angeles Rams until further notice. Chris Olave, if he plays, or Romeo Dubs, yes. Olave, if he plays. I would play so. I'll recount what I was told by Rob Demoski from ESPN, who covers this team on a daily basis. Paul Brettel from local ESPN Wisconsin, Madison, I think, also told me the same thing a couple weeks ago. I mean, the pecking order here is pretty simple. It's Dubs is the go-to guy when Jordan Love is quarterback. Jaden Reed is the playmaking, the all-around, Swiss Army knife guy who's going to get some plays on the run, going to take this stuff, the intermediate stuff over the middle and make some plays with it. And Christian Watson's the big play threat. This almost seems like, what do you need? Right? Like what is it? What do you need? Do you need to avoid a zero? Do you need to swing for the fence? That might be the determining factor. Olave seems risky to me, right? A guy going into a game, if he goes into the game, injury. Sam Laporta, I'm going to beat you to the punch, Scamper, on this one, is expected to play Monday night. Let me go down to the bottom and see if you beat me, Scampers. I have my Dick Tracy watch on, so I could go fast. Did you get it, Scampers? Wait a minute. You beat me. What am I gonna do? So I'd probably be avoiding Olave myself unless I got some really good reporting Sunday morning. You know how to do this. Go to Football Guys. We have a game day update page that'll give you all the latest information from around the world. The world of insiders, whether it's Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Pelissero, Garofolo, Jordan Schultz, Jeremy Fowler, Jay Glazer. There's a whole world of these guys out here who are out there talking to agents and people getting a better feel for this. If we get something more definitive on Olave, and we might hear, he's on the pitch count, whatever. Like, if it's Olave, if Olave's playing and it's positive reporting, I'd probably play him. I took way too long on that question because I was looking around and trying to beat Mr. Scamper. Very irritating. Hold on. Not irritating, Scampers. I'm just kidding. Not irritating at all. All right, hold on a second, kids. Just checking for some information here. Bear with me. Just reporting back to the team on something here. Let's see. Laporta issues seem like they're not an issue this week. So, I would pick up Tyler Conklin and have him as a good backup. You carry two tight ends. If you only carry one tight end, it sounds like Laporta's going to be okay. It's always worrisome to go in with a guy who's hurt. So if that's a concern for you, he has an existing thing. He's off the injury report, but you have somebody equally as good. And right now, a lot of people are equally as good as Laporta. I'm probably still playing Laporta here. I'm also probably still playing him here, but it's not crazy. I feel like that's my job here, telling people they're not crazy. I mean, would I consider doing this? Yes, I would consider doing it, but I probably in the end end up playing Laporta. And it hasn't been good. We realize this, right? And Seattle's a pretty pesky defense. So, you know, also, Buffalo's is not. So I get it. Not crazy. Go with your hunch. Play your hunch, not my hunch. This is a rule here. This is the rule. I have hunches. I lay them out. You'll find them in my in and out article. They're sometimes, they're edgy. I explain them. I justify them. I talk through the rationale, but predicting the future is tricky business. So if you have a hunch, play your hunch, not my hunch. Your hunches are great. We'll sit here and we'll talk about them and kind of throw out, talk through some of the issues, but yeah, play your hunches. Oh, sorry about that, Andrea. Andy Dalton, Cincinnati Lawrence versus Houston. Derek Carr versus Atlanta. I want to say, Andy Dalton with the momentum and the matchup is a good play. It would be Derek Carr if not. If you're nervous about like I know it's a mean joke, but he's either the red rifle or the redheaded stepchild. You don't know who's showing up with Andy Dalton. That's been his history, right? He's good team, and then he will tear you down. I think this is a good setup for him, though. Like if you have faith in Andy Dalton, and you have faith in Dave Canales, you saw what this offense can do when it's on schedule, turns loose Deontay Johnson. That opens up the door for the rushing game. We saw Chuba Hubbard getting chunk carries, right? Everything was great. So I'm not against I'm not against Andy Dalton. I remain Andy skeptical. Also, Derek Carr skeptical. Also, Trevor Lawrence told us his offense sucks. Believe him until further notice. Should I flex Walker or McLaurin? Half point PPR. I'm gonna go ahead and play McLaurin and get it out of the way. Uh, you know, again, in this one, even if it was like a like full clearance, is it super tough matchup? Would I expect some Charbonnet? Maybe. I don't know. Oh, look at you go. Anthrax, Exodus, and Halloween. That's a hell of a show. Ah, was that the Jamie Jassy era or still the Ricky Rackman? Rest of season, Darnold or Fields, 6 points per TD league. I'm going to go ahead and say Darnold because at some point, if things go south for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell Wilson's sitting there and waiting for his calf to be allowed to be better when Justin Fields struggles. This is a whole setup here to me, right? Like maybe not. Maybe like I saw some reporting this week. Maybe the calf is worse than or is still an issue or whatever. I think it's probably not. I think that them winning or it's less of an issue. If they were losing, it would be less of an issue. So Darnold, right? And is Darnold going to turn into a pumpkin? I don't think so. I wrote about it in this week's notebook. You should go check that out. It's totally free. Unite Santini. It's available to you at footballguys.com. Just go to the articles page and pick me as the author. You'll see that article. So I would go ahead and, like I love Justin Fields too, right? But I think in terms like if I had to pick one who I thought was going to start the rest of the season, I think it's going to be Sam Darnold more so than Justin Fields, who I hope starts the rest of the season. I know Sam Darnold will, barring the unforeseen, right? And so there we have it. The unforeseen will. Okay, Ty Chandler versus Green Bay or Bucky Irving versus Philadelphia. I'm playing Bucky Irving if he's playing. And the reporting is he looked good. Uh, like I think it was Greg Allman from Fox Sports tweeted out that he looked good Friday. So I don't know. Like I really want to take the injury reporting with a grain of salt because we don't know. We're not in the building, and we trust reporters. And Greg Allman is a very good reporter, and so this is not any casting any shade on him. But it turns out teams don't necessarily want you to know what the hell's going on, right? So limited. Then he did the no practice Thursday, and then he was limited Friday. And what Allman said, it looked like the hamstring wasn't limiting him in practice. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to play him uh, and hope for the best. Ty Chandler is a viable play, but like if Aaron Jones keeps rolling, Andrea, I don't know how much Ty we'll see. And and Aaron Jones is on a roll. Make no mistake about it. Revenge game for Aaron Jones. Full point PPR, needy tight end, Fant, Kraft, Otten, Strange. Oy. Boy, that's a whole bunch of outliers. I'm just double checking the projections here because I feel like that's it's a knot of guys, and here's where they're projected at. Fant 20, Otten 21, Strange 24, Kraft 25. I hope that helps. Oh, I already did this one. Are we asking questions more than one time, or did I just like get lost? Wilson or Adunze? Wilson, 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 Wilson. Oh, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, yeah. No wonder I'm not. He doesn't immediately come to mind. Look, this is a you decision, right? Like if it was me, like if you go read my internet column, I'm in on Roma Dunse, I'm out on Russell or Garrett Wilson. Why? Well, because he's going up against Pat Surtain, and this has not gone well. We're talking like 59 routes have been run against him by really good receivers this year. DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Mike Evans. They've scored a combined 15 fantasy points. That's it. That's all. 3.7 points for Evans, who, but granted, didn't go against him that much. Metcalf, 5.9 points. Pickens, 4.9, 4.7 points. It was like, it's ridiculous. So, and as I was talking to Andrew Cooper yesterday on the Fantasy Alarm on the Coop show yesterday, on the plays where he doesn't beat you, he grabs you. So like I want to say, like I don't know how you go all the way out on Wilson, but you were mindful of the fact that Roma Dunze has a great matchup. He was wide for 7 last week, scored over 20 points. He's going against a Rams defense that's one of the most generous opposing pass, receivers in football. So this is a you decision, room 37. I think we've laid it all out. Hi, Tim Furr. How are you? I'm glad you made it. Jalen Hurts or Geno Smith? I'm playing Jalen Hurts. I get the Geno Smith thing. I'm a little worried about Geno Smith in that pass rush. I'll be honest with you. George Fant's ailing, so a Seahawk running back or White for number 2. That's an apt description for White there. Your number 2. Like I feel like I'm gonna like it's malpractice to even, like so I'm invested in White. I've, you know, built a narrative all offseason based on talking to people who talk to the people in the building who told me they really think highly of Zamir White. They may think highly of him, but Zamir White does not think highly of us, right? So I would go with if I had clarity of the Seahawks running back, I would go with the Seahawks running back, right? Like so, if Walker is questionable, if you can make this call, like if you have both of them, Sonny, this is probably easy. I'm probably overthinking this. This is probably easy. If you have both of them, just wait until game time. And if Walker's active, you probably default to Walker. If he's not active, you go with Charbonnet, and you probably avoid the White situation altogether against the Cleveland Browns. What is this college football? What is this baseball? I don't even know what those are. PPR. Let's see what's going on down the bottom of the chat here, real quick. See if I'm missing anything important. Mr. Scamper's keeping on top of things. Greg Allman is not, but Greg Allman is. Greg Allman, may he rest in peace. But if he did, he would work for Fox Sports South like Greg Allman. All right, I'm just scrolling through some comments, making sure I'm like semi caught up here. All right, I'm a semi caught up here. Pickens or Jaden Reed? I'm playing Pickens. Edgy picks. I'm going to tell you about the in and out. I watch football every Sunday, curled up in a little ball, wondering how stupid I would look after the end of the day. Last week was fairly stupid. The week before, I was pretty damn smart. You never know. Need 2 in a PPR. Montgomery, London, JSN, Harris, or AJ Brown if he plays. Those are difficult for me to decipher. Montgomery and I'm probably going with the running backs, playing the volume in decent and avoiding all the nonsense with wide receivers. Yes, I'm old, but I am aware targets are worth more more than carries, but carries are still worth something, especially in favorable matchups, which Harris has, less so for Montgomery, but also the goal line work is hard to ignore. The other things, I like JSN this week, and I like Brown every week, but I don't know how healthy he is. So, need 2 of these 4 for flex spots in a half point PPR. Walker at Detroit, Addison at Bay, Allen versus Rams, or Demarcus Robinson at Chicago. I have most of this Walker injury protection as well. Uh, I don't know if most, yeah, I mean, there's a, this maybe is something we wait until we get today's injury report, and that's a little more determinative of most of the off injury report, which I don't know if it will. I'm guessing it's questionable, just like they'll probably list Walker as questionable, and you'll have no clarity at all. So, do you go into a game like counting on 2 questionable guys? I do not. But if you want to, I mean, Walker for sure, if I think he's playing, and I'd be tempted to go. Like, I'm tempted to play the depth chart. I know it hasn't been great for Robinson, so it's between. I'm probably going Robinson. I'm gonna probably double check the projections there because I think these are guys are in a little bit of a we're in a like an almost not here. Yep, we're in a bit of a knot. The projections like Robinson best, and I mean I think that's the logical play there. I don't know if I feel great about it, but it is to me it's the logical play. So I would do that. By golly. I don't know what so Keenan Allen, his first game back, it's a great matchup. I'm overthinking this one for sure. Projections like Allen best. I don't know that I do. That's probably the call. All right. So let's hope you get injury designations to clear you out, and then we'll say Allen, Robinson, Addison. Don't feel good about any of that. Hi, Laporte issues this weekend. I think we already did this one. AJ Brown's not going to play, right? With week 5 ball. So there's 2 schools of thought here. That is like that makes the most sense to me, but also like the history of AJ Brown when he gets on the practice field is he likes to play. So I mean, I'm definitely watching this one. And I think if you have him, you kind of would feel compelled to play him. I don't know what your other options would be. I like in an ideal world, we would get that like, hey, let's just rest him up and get it over with, and we'll come back week 7 and everyone will feel great, or week 6 and everyone will feel great. So, so I think probably he's not going to play, but I think it's still possible. Half point PPR, Mr. Scampers need Deontay versus Cincinnati, Tyreek versus Tennessee, or Jerome Ford. Right. Like I feel like the momentum has gone so far in his favor based on a single great game with a quarterback who comes in and get something done. Is that sustainable? I have him ranked ahead of Tyreek this week, and I played moving forward. So yes, I share your concerns, and I also would play them in the order you have them. Hey, how's everyone doing today? In case you just showed up, I'm Bob Harris, footballguys.com. That's the website. Lots of stuff going on at Football Guys, including a news feed. So go check that. Get all the latest on the players who might have injury issues. Again, the game day page is fantastic. Updated in kind of real time as the games approach on Sunday with all the insider information. I also cover that as well on the Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio pregame show with Jeff Mans. And we get the inactives in real time there for you as well and kind of sort through things for you. So check that out. I'll also be on Sirius XM NFL and Fantasy Sports Radio tonight, 8 to 11. We'll take calls all night long or mostly all night long. So get in on the fun if you'd like there as well. I'm happy to hear it too. Good to see you, Jim. Naruto. Need to decide between Juwan Jennings, Smith, and Jigba in a PPR league. My thought would be if Devo doesn't play, I'd be fine playing Juwan Jennings, but I'd also be fine playing Smith and Jigba. So if there is a Debo or If you don't feel great about it, I think Smith and Jigba gets a good matchup. I'm concerned about the pass rush for Smith, but not so much so that I would not play Smith and Jigba or DK Metcalf. But if there's no Debo, I'd probably play Jawan Jennings again. Dynasty hole. So listener Tyler Huntley. Um, probably Russell Wilson. Waddle versus Tennessee or Garrett Wilson versus Denver. I'm probably playing Garrett Wilson. I hope you heard me, Andrea, discuss at length. And if you want to go read the now column, I discuss at length the issues for Garrett Wilson. I don't know what to expect from Waddle. Here's the problem. And Huntley changed the equation, at least to some degree, right? Because we don't know how he's going to look or what he's going to do. The problem for the receiving core last week was the same problem for the running backs. The offense was not on schedule. They were playing, nothing was working, right? And so we had a 15% or 16% target share for Tyreek Hill, 15-ish% for Waddle. Maybe that changes with Tyler Huntley. Maybe he just dumps off more to Devon Achane, and all my notions that he's not in a good spot or for not. I just think it's not a great offense. So I'd probably play Wilson, but I wouldn't feel good about it. Again, I think I've run through this pretty well. This is a you decision. This is not me wanting to decide for you. If you go read my in and out column, you'll see that I'm out on Garrett Wilson. I'm in on a Dunze. I don't have a Dunze project. I project Garrett Wilson to be a wide receiver 2 at best, but we've seen nobody else do that, right? Again, DK Metcalf, 5.7, 5.9. George Pickens, 4 and change, 4 point something. DK Metcalf or Mike Evans, 3.7. Garrett Wilson has not been fantastic up to this point. It kind of depends, Steve. So here's how you approach these things, or how I approach them. I look at the rest of my lineup. What do I have? What do I need? What does my opponent have? What's my, if you're on sleeper or wherever, check the percentage of your odds of winning. Like, do you just need to avoid a 0? Well, then maybe I'd feel okay with Surtain. But I probably I like a Dunze this week. If I was swinging for the fence, it would be a Dunze. Like I would needed a huge game. It's not going to come from Garrett Wilson. Bad weather. England. I love Snatch. England games are coming, people. Steel yourselves. Early kickoffs, bad weather, bad food. Well, I'm sorry, England. I apologize. Mingo has a punt if Deontay Johnson's out, or they're better punts. He's a punt, right? Like in that game, I mean, probably everyone has Yoshiva, so in that game, Leggett, maybe. I mean, it would be between Mingo or Leggett. Dolphins against Tennessee, like that. Saints against I'd probably prefer the Dolphins. I think like Leggett has come on for sure. Again in August, I thought that he was not looking like he was on track, and then in September he was. Would you trade Amari Cooper and Zach Moss in return for Walker and McCaffrey? Well, I'm not gonna recommend that because I don't know when McCaffrey's coming back. We can all have our own belief because we don't have any facts, right? We hear a lot of speculation, a lot of discussion. We know McCaffrey went to Germany. Is that a sign like you're 2 weeks into your IR and things aren't going well? So you're looking for some outside, treatments, some stem cell kind of things that will help you go faster. Does that mean you're in a good spot, a bad spot? I think it probably is not a good spot. I think it's probably going to extend out longer. But if you believe McCaffrey's going to come back and give you league-winning upside at the end of the season, it's not an unfair deal. I wouldn't do it right now because I don't have faith in McCaffrey until I get better information. I go way too fast. It's like listen to Linda Page. He knows. What kind of guitars are sitting there? Which do you prefer? There's a Jackson Dinky, which I love. It sounds fantastic. Incredibly hot EMG pickups. And it doesn't stay in tune for more than 2 songs. I have an old Yamaha kind of a Strat thing. It's got really good pickups. It's got a Floyd Rose tremolo, and in 20 years has not been out of tune. So I end up playing it more, but I like the Jackson better. Ah, the shorts. Good Lord. Did you see that? Oh my God. Like you want to be a $30 million guy and you're going to argue about what you're wearing? Come on, man. That was crazy. Everyone go out on X machine and Google. What is it? What do you do on X? Grok. No, just search Ayuk, and it's hilarious. I mean, he literally throws a bit of a fit. Hilarious. Bowers or Kincaid? I'm playing Bowers. I do like Kincaid this week. Not saying I will. Not saying I won't. You like Montgomery this week, or would you flex in Odunze or Garrett Wilson? I would probably play Montgomery over both those guys. Scampers, my breaking news champion. Love this. Do I trade Breece Hall for John Taylor and Brandon Ayuk? It's a fair deal if you want to do it. Yes. Goodwill Hunting quotes and fantasy football information. Yes, all of that. Which defense should I the Browns defense? Texans or the Bears? The Bears. 2 tight end league. McBride out. Pick 2. Fant, Higgins, Strange, or Hall. Strange. I like Higgins a little bit. An outlier. He has the touchdown this year. He's got a catch in every game. He hasn't dropped any passes. There's things to like. Probably Fant's probably a smarter choice, but man, it's a watch. It's a good matchup. It's Strange for sure, and then probably Higgins for me. Let me see what the algorithm says there. And it's not the algorithm. It's the smart people at Football Guys. That was the old-timey thing that I used to say when I was a football at diehards because we did use an algorithm more. Fant and Higgins. Oh, Higgins 19, Fant 20. There you have it. The call's been made by the good people at Football Guys. And the good people, Jason Wood, Moriel Tremblay, Bob Henry, and Justin Freeman. They do a great job. They work these projections like crazy. Like constantly throughout the week, right? We're paying attention to all the latest injury information. That's what I was doing when I was inputting something here earlier when we heard about Hundley. I want to make sure that was gotten on everybody's radar so they could adjust for projections. The answer has not changed. Strange is cheap AF. This is fact-based analysis. Are we out Parkinson? I think we're kind of out Parkinson. I mean, I'd probably still play him. I'd probably still play him ahead of those guys. I don't know. I mean, I like. So it's a funny question. I do like him better than those guys, but not like by a ton, right? But he's the guy who's been working as a starter all along. He's been the primary piece, and it has not been very productive. But I'd probably prefer to play the guy who's been there. I know Fant's been that's more. They're focused more on the wide receivers. I probably like them. Parkinson, Strange, Higgins fan. Well, now, I like Tyler Conklin a lot. I appreciate you so much, Scampers. I'm a wingman. So there's 2 schools of thought on Taysom Hill. That he gets a lot of touches because he doesn't play the traditional tight end, and you can use him in that way. Alvin Kamara's beat up. Maybe we get a little more bandwidth for Taysom Hill. I'm probably still playing a regular tight end over Taysom Hill if I have that opportunity. And Freiermuth would be a regular tight end. I've traded Kyle Pitts for Trey McBride in PPR redraft. Seems like a good deal. This would be a win. Still unchanged. Still think this is a good trade if that's what you want to do. Apparently, this is true. There's a lot of revenge games this week. A lot of revenge games. Just saw Anthrax not long ago. So, like, I covered the Alice. I do the Alice in Chains League on Sirius XM. I get to host that every year. It's a ton of fun. Scotty from Anthrax in that league, defending champion this year. So, little Anthrax connection there. If you looked at the red rifle the way you looked at Zamir, this is true. should probably rethink my position there. Does Cecil have an alter ego? Might be. Might be. Poor Tyler Lockett and PPR. Tyler Lockett or Andre Yoshivas. Actually, you were pretty damn close. You're like one extra A. That's pretty good. I don't know if anyone. I don't know if anyone else is doing that. Only Jock in the Village. Um, I don't have a strong opinion on this. I should check the. I want to check the rest of the season rankings. Like I lean Yoshivas at the moment, but it's not an unreasonable question. I feel like we've all checked out on Lockett, and maybe we should. Okay. I mean, like Yoshivas is ahead of him, but I think only based on the touchdown game, right? Like so. Yeah, I think Yoshivas, but I might be like I'm usually not so ageist because why I'm very old, right? I'm usually not like that. I would probably go Yoshivas. I think uh I think that'd be my choice. All right, we got a few more minutes here. Let me see how many I can get through. Greg Allman, nah. Cecil is super cool. Start two wide receivers: Evans, London, JSN, Jennings. I'm not giving up on Mike Evans. I would probably wait out. If Jennings there is no Debo, I would play him, and if there is, I would play JSN. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Rashad White has been dropped in a 10-team PPR league. I'm stacked at running back. Is he a pickup? Stacked at running back. I don't know if you'll play him. I see there's momentum gaining in the White's going to have so like White's going to be playable any given week because of his receiving role, but Bucky Irving is coming. There's no doubt. He's the momentum is built, and it's just he's a better runner. That's just all there is to it. It's all we want. A little clarity. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the alcohol selection is great, except I don't drink. Odd. Shallow bench in my PPR league. Do I stream Darnold over A. Rich or Conklin over Mark Andrews? I would co-sign on either of those. I'm all in on Anthony Richardson, so like I try to like recuse myself from these decisions. I'd probably play him just for the upside and because I was so invested and because I sold you all on Anthony Richardson all season long. I feel like I should be punished by having to play him every damn week. But the smart play would probably be to go ahead and play Darnold and wait and see what happens with Richardson when see if they can get some things sorted out. And I'm not afraid to play Tyler Conklin over Mark Andrews right now. Ceremonial benching for Mark Andrews across the board. I like that movie, 12 Monkeys. Other option. Who else was it? Who was it last year? I've already like forgot. Like so many damn questions. I like Darnell Mooney, but I can't remember who your other option was. Help me out. Before I go back to the beginning to watch if Debo plays, Jawan Jennings or Braylon Allen. If Debo plays, Braylon Allen. PPR, if AJ Brown doesn't play, should I start McLaurin, Jameson Williams, Spears, or Zamir White? Probably like them in that order. Hi there, new here. I'm Bob. I'm also new here. This is my first year of football, guys. Jaden, I'm playing Jaden Daniels. You're allowed to play Jalen Hurts. I'm playing Daniels this week. Have him ranked ahead. PPR flex, Akers, Brian Thomas Jr., Christian Kirk, or McConkey. If there is no Joe Mixon, I'm playing Akers. If there is, I want to avoid the Chargers pass attack because I just don't have any faith in. It's not a good week for them. I probably play Christian Kirk in a PPR. Death Wish or Sanka Coffee? Death Wish. I'm a long time Mooney proponent. I think we all are. All right, I'm almost out of time. Let's see if I can get a few more here. This is going to be the last couple questions. Sorry if I didn't get your questions. I apologize in advance. If you really need me, call up the Sirius XM Fantasy Sport. It's actually the NFL radio number, but you can dial it in on NFL Radio Channel 88, Fantasy Channel 87. We'll take calls and I'll hook you up. Montgomery or Jacobs? Barkley is my running back number one. I'd play Jacobs over Montgomery right now. Would I trade Achan for St. Brown? If I needed a wide receiver, I absolutely would. Half point, 12 team need to Ford versus Vegas, Acres versus I would probably play Dobbins, and I don't feel great about it just because the situation with the offense. I love narratives. Tell myself happy stories all the time. Parkinson versus Taysom Hill. This might be a case where I play Taysom Hill. But I would play Keenan Allen if he's playing this week, but I'd set my expectations accordingly. This is facts. The movie talk. I'm not caught up. Higgins, Shaheed, Adunze. I like Adunze a little better than Shaheed this week. Probably Higgins is a smart play. Adunze is like my guy this week. Like I feel like this is a good week for him. Had the volume last week. I'm not chasing last week's points. I'm chasing last week's points in a great matchup this week. That's fine enough distinction. Playing Harrison Jr. Pick two wide receivers. You have to narrow this down, Hunter. What is this? Like you're playing Marvin Harrison. I mean, if you want to play Tyreek, I would probably be playing Tyreek and Hubbard. But I mean, you could like McLaurin is a viable option over Tyreek for sure. Not a big tour. Allison Chains are good dudes. Cantrell and Inez are fantastic and big time fantasy players. I love fantasy. Thanks, Andrea. Good to see you. Traded CMC, Olave, Zemos for Garrett Wilson. Laporta started 1 and 2. All right. Rumor of T. Higgins getting moved if they keep losing. Yoshivas maybe a decent pickup. That's a fair point. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm gonna have to get out of here. I'm trying to see if there are any really valuable questions here that I need to get to. Higgins over Pittman. B. Allen, like 1 point, one of those. I'm probably gonna play Higgins, but Shaheed if I need a home run play. Thank you. Nothing. No bread at breakfast. But if you made me, it would be a croissant. Uh, it happens. Happens to the best of us. Happens to me. I'm surprised it's not happened here. Thank you. It is up there with the best and endlessly quotable. Oh, AJ or Mooney. Um, like if AJ played, I'd be hard pressed not to play him, Lester. But I'd be perfectly satisfied playing Mooney. Ooh, Pete. Good reference. I like that. I could watch that. Like there's some movies that like when you're channel surfing, they're on that you don't change the channel. He's definitely one. Coming, Jim. Thanks, Paulie. Hope my lineup's illegal. I'll look for your email. Smash the like button on your way back. Bye, bye, bye. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you all so much for coming. I know you have a lot of time, a lot of options, and thanks for spending some of it with me. And Season and Sig will be back here for their usual show. Sunday night, they'll be back here reviewing the games and tons of other content throughout the week. So check it out. Probably rest of the season. I like Gibbs an awful lot, but Taylor's probably the smart play there. Hey, Tip. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you. I didn't see your question, D. Smitty. Yeah, I did answer it. just because I didn't answer it. Well, like I've got to scroll through the questions, right? There's a lot of them. Uh, I'm probably playing. I like watching better. I like the big play threat down that low on my board. But if you just need a guy who can help you, uh, avoid a zero any given week, it's probably yeah. Thank you, Troubled Mind. Appreciate that. Appreciate you all. Again, check out my articles every week. I'll be back here Tuesday, 7 p.m. for On the Hot Seat. I'm here every Saturday doing this thing also. Check me out on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 p.m. to midnight. Take tons of calls, answer tons of questions on all those shows. Also, tonight, NFL Radio and SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, both at the same time, 8 to 11. Call us there. And then Sunday, you can catch me on the pregame show with Jeff Mans from 11 to 1. And otherwise, read my articles at the Football Guys at my daily update podcast. 10 minutes every morning. Download it, check it out, read it. It's on the Audible channel on your platform of choice. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Good luck this week.